Hello everyone, and thank you so much for being part of Joy Asonye Live today. Today we would be talking about the evacuation of returnees from Sudan. The federal government has ended the emergency evacuation exercise for stranded Nigerians fleeing the armed conflict in Sudan. The last batch of the returnees of 147 arrived Nigeria over the weekend, bringing the total number of Nigerian citizens evacuated from the North African country to 2,518 in 15 flights. Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency's Director General Mustafa Ahmed said 160 women claiming to be Nigerians in Sudan have no passport to verify their citizenship claim and were not included in those evacuated. To discuss all this and how Nigeria has learned a lesson from all of this is Rakiya Ahmedu. She's a foreign affairs analyst. Again, thank you for being part of the program, and you're becoming a regular on Joy Asonye Live. That's such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me and giving me that precious opportunity.
Oh, the honor is actually mine. But we'll go for a short break now and return to discuss more. Stay with us. Welcome back. Like I said earlier, Sudan, the federal government ends evacuation of Nigerians. And I have Rakiya Ahmedu right here to discuss that. First of all, we must congratulate the federal government for the effort so far in ensuring Nigerians in the war-torn zone are evacuated. However, we are also hearing voices, disparaging voices from corners, speaking about those who were left behind. You are an expert, so you tell us. They did not have necessarily the document and the passports necessary to come back. However, if, like you had said in the last time you came, if we have Nigerians who have descent here, do they not qualify as Nigerians?
Thank you. Like I mentioned the other day, remember, these people have been living here over the years. Some of them were born there. So if you want to enjoy your origin, naturally you go to the embassy and register your existence. They are given all Nigerians descent in wherever they find themselves in the world. You are given an opportunity to register. We give them what we call, some we give ID card. Okay, and if you have reason to travel to Nigeria for a reason, they give you emergency travel certificate. But before you get this, you are supposed to go to the embassy and register your existence in that country.
So for Nigerians who are asking, I mean, these are our sisters. They have their origin here in Nigeria. It's unfortunate that the war broke out in Sudan. Nigeria should do something about those ones. I mean, there were up to 160 women who were denied.
But do you know that nobody can travel without necessary documents?
These are people who said their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents are Nigerians.
They have rights of origin. They have rights.
They do have a right.
They do, but you just cannot move from across one country to another country without a document. Travel documents are necessity. They are requirements. For you must have them to be able to travel. So nobody knows, God forbid, nobody expected that war. And that is why when you are living in any place, I could remember my husband was in charge of this type of desk in a country. I won't mention the name. So he had to go from door to door encouraging Igbos born in that country. They believe they're just nationals. So what if tomorrow you need to go home?
Right.
So document yourself. It costs you nothing just to go associate or affiliate or show that you are from this origin and you are living here by whatever standard, either by birth, by marriage, or by you carrying yourself to the place of migration or whatever you think take you there, just go to the embassy, register as a citizen of the country. If it is by birth, by father's side or mother's side, you know how you are connected to Nigeria. So you just have to do one of these to get qualified. That is a qualification.
Right.
You can't move from a country to another country without passport. If you don't have the passport, there's another thing they call emergency travel certificate. But before you are able to access this, get to the embassy, register yourself.
And this is something they should have done way before.
Long before the war broke out. Nobody knows when anything
Exactly.
can happen. It costs them nothing. But you know, some people negligence everything they take for granted. How can you live in a place you believe you want to go and claim Nigeria? You've lived there for so long, and maybe sometime in future you may have need to connect with your origin, and you could not simply go to the embassy. Let you be known. If you don't have this paper before the day, and you have even been seen once at the embassy,
Right,
somebody will stand up for you.
Exactly. But what is the international best practice for this? I remember in the conversation while it was going live and the engagement around it, you hear Nigerians say that if this were a citizen of another country, not Nigeria, would have seen the country come to their aid. I mean, a British citizen that just says, I'm Britain, they would do an investigation quickly just because the person's life might be in danger. Do you think it's something Nigeria should have considered? Is that the international best practice?
That is it. Is the best practice, actually. But in all honesty, everything has its own procedure. You cannot violate one standard
because of the other.
because of this person. As I told you the last time we discussed, everything is arranged according to standard. If you want us to examine your situation, investigate, and be able to attend to you, then you would have presented yourself earlier. It's not at the point of departure. You are at the airport. You want to be airlifted now, and you want who to investigate?
Okay, let's talk about how you have to manage. I mean, the foreign affairs have to manage such situations all over the world. We've seen Nigerians who also do not get their papers right, like you say. So is there some advocacy in that regard in countries around the world for Nigerians to get their documentation updated?
Naturally, all embassies have a register for Nigerian citizens living in the countries. So we have register. You go there, register birth, including birth, you know. You register birth. So how can you not register yourself? You are allowed, permitted. Over long period of time, you were given opportunity to come, register yourself, your husband, your children, everything you think you have that you want to connect with Nigeria, your origin, register them. We have a register for this. So if you have not done that and this happened, and it's an emergency, the time this problem started, between the period Nigeria was negotiating with other countries, diplomatic negotiation was going on. These people, human beings, equally have that period to quickly rush to the embassy and register. I've been here, I didn't have this and that. You complain all that you don't have. That period, they still have the leeway to attend
to you, right?
But not at the point of departure. And you want to connect, yes, you want to be lifted. How do they elite you? It becomes Nigeria kind of thing. They call us trying to boycott all corners.
Speaking about cutting corners, you know how Nigeria, you know how much we love to travel. We have to travel. It doesn't matter where, really. We just love to travel. We love to leave the country, maybe return back like big boys. It's a thing of pride in Nigeria when you have been out, I think. So, and in this quest to explore other lands, some Nigerians often do not even have that documentation. They enter these countries illegally. But in a case where trouble meets you there, even though you approached that country illegally, are you still positioned to seek help from your government? Because you are undocumented, like you said, you should
enter the country illegally. You are an illegal.
you're an illegal
anything.
Somebody.
Yes, you can't claim anything because the government, the office cannot even do anything for you. And you are aware. You enter. You just have to find a way, get your documents proper before you can come out. So they can't even come out. In all honesty, those in that particular type of situation cannot come to the embassy for help. I'm very sure.
Even in a war-torn zone, I mean, if in cases like this where we have seen crisis, you will not run to the embassy to say, I apologize, I got into this country illegally, but please take me out.
My sister, you are in that position in Sudan. You have legal ones and illegal ones.
Of course.
You have opportunity to move 100. You have 99 or 100 legal, and you have 50 illegal. Where are you moving?
Why don't we make you're asking a very serious question. I mean, I don't want to ever be in the position where I would let some people go, but what is expected?
See, naturally, for the embassy or whoever in charge to have been able to leave those people behind, then there's no way out. If there's a way out, they would have loved to do. Because do you know what it means to get promotion when you have done a very beautiful job?
It gives you joy.
It gives you joy. The whole nation was not at peace because of these people, remember?
I remember.
So whatever they would have done to, in fact, lift almost all, if it's possible, they would have loved to do. Because one, everybody will pray for them. Two, the office will praise them, probably promote them. So, but anyone they will do and get in trouble.
Exactly.
They will let go.
So do you think Nigerians, like you said, there was so much activities or conversations around this where Nigerians had all the most unprintable things to say about government, even when the government kept updating all of us as to what was going on. However, do you think we have learnt our lessons for those who have divisive comment about the nation? Have we learned our lessons? We heard about some Sudanese who were hustling to get into the buses and all of that just to be evacuated from Sudan. Those who came back have also spoken about the harrowing experiences they had. But back here in Nigeria, it's peaceful, it's calm, and it's beautiful. Have we learnt our lessons?
Nigeria, my country. Well, it's possible some of us would have, but those other ones that are on the other side of history, you know, some people choose to be sad even when they are having the opportunity to be happy.
Everything is there to be happy, right?
So they are sadists, people that cannot be happy with anything. They are there, we have them. The ones that are happy and ready to be flexible and go around with what has happened, the way it happened. We were all looking for our citizens, our nationals to come back.
Yes.
And happily, we find our government did everything. The meager resource at our disposal was, in fact, much was used to bring them. And we're supposed to be happy, but others are still complaining. They have reason to complain.
Those that are complaining at the moment, what's the complaint?
Much money was spent.
Too much money was spent in bringing.
Why the attention of this few when we have millions in poverty? So $1.2 million would have been converted to naira and share to those that are so poor. And now we are now to leave our brother, our related ones offshore. Wallowing in pain.
So does it mean that we are never happy? Because I remember the voices of get these people back home, get them out of these crisis-prone places. People are suffering. I remember there were videos, and you are also telling me about discerning voices that say, "Why spend this much for just a few?"
For few, when we have millions, that's Nigerians. So I always hail our government. I hail them. Because a lot they try to do for us, a lot they invest on our behalf, yet We have a lot to complain, to condemn them for it. They have done this. We are supposed to be happy. We are happy. Some of us are happy, actually. You and I.
Yeah, I'm happy that these people are out of the trouble zone. Yes, the trouble.
So a lot
place.
are happy, but the ones that are having this nature, you can't change it. They are not happy. And those type, what lesson will they learn? Nothing. So the society, if you divide it, we can get 50 that have learned lesson never to
even think about the war, right?
But those ones that they believe they can drum and get us, but we will not get there. Our brother have already given us the final statement before he left this world. We should not go to war.
Who do you mean? Ajia, I'm not sure where you're going with this. You said our brother left the final statement before leaving.
I mean Ojukwu.
Okay.
Yes, we had our own experience of war. And I don't think anybody in Nigeria here
wants to advocate for war.
They may say what they want to say just for the same sake or just for them to be heard. Some people like to be heard. Their voices for a very long time, maybe they have not been, nobody have attention. They've been
quiet, right?
So they want to just beat a drum.
So that we listen to them.
So they can do that. A pocket of Boko Haram or kidnapping is natural worldwide. We call our own Boko Haram. What do you call American one?
Exactly. So everybody have their own.
When
Donald Trump, the insurrection,
Trump was there causing his own, a sitting president causing that. So it's natural there are one or two trouble worldwide nations.
So all nations have their own.
They have their own. So we are not bad. We are good.
Right. So Nigerians have been also asking that the country, Nigeria, plays the big brother role in ensuring peace in Sudan. For some of us who might be naive as to not understanding really the bilateral relations that can enact this, what would be your say to it? Is Nigeria making enough effort so that our brothers, such as Sudan, would not be in war, or just bring peace to it?
Like I told you the last time we met, we have a bond with Sudan. Islamically, religiously, we have a bond. Then culturally, we have similarities. And our people, as you have seen, from all the prints you have read, it's as good as having Nigerians in place there. Even in government, we have them in Sudan. So since that is we may not have border, we don't have physical border with them. But see this border I've mentioned, very, very key. So we do all the bilateral relationship we have with Sudan. We have so much to protect. We have economic relationship with Sudan, you know that, apart from this.
Exactly.
We have bilateral in economic, in education, in health with Sudan. Just to ensure you may just say brother, big brother. It's not just big, real brotherly relationship we have. If you just say big brother, it's just
it might look a little far, but this one is real brotherhood.
Yes.
Right. So if you have to suggest, I mean, Nigerians are waiting to see how we could charge in there and ensure peace. We've seen so many movies. I think that's what's happening to us. We watch too many movies. So we expect the president to just place a call and then see how the two parties, the president of Nigeria, of course, the president of Nigeria, of course, to place a call and see how the two warring generals and tell them to stop this because he's not happy. We're giants of Africa. Isn't it time to prove that we are giants indeed? And what are the processes if we have to start these peace talks?
You see, when you talk of offshore business, it's different from a quiet cookie relationship. We are talking of offshore. Another nation
where they enjoy their sovereignty.
They have their sovereignty, you cannot dictate for them. You can place a call. The president, I know he's a peace-loving president. He would have done one or two things, but the larger part of it, of what he can do, will be done diplomatically. It has to pass through the procedure, the process. If not, you have no power. As a citizen of your country, you are a sitting president of your own country, you cannot infringe on another person's right. You can't dictate, you can only appeal.
I mean, but if you have a sister who you enjoy a certain relationship, you have just said that we do enjoy that relationship with Sudan, and you can see that it's becoming a war-torn zone. Their economy is coming to a standstill,
and it's going to affect almost
it's going to affect lives. Exactly, people are dying. Other countries are affected as well. We should see something more, and the fact that we haven't heard much as to peace talks, championing peace talks, it's making Nigerians concerned.
Nigerians are always concerned.
Nigerians are always concerned.
Even what they are not supposed to, because there are certain things that even if you are concerned, you are constrained not to be able to do certain things.
Okay.
Yeah, you are concerned, yes, but you have constraints. You can't do something on certain things. You can't do. Why am I saying that? Our president, President Muhammadu Buhari, would have done one or two things, just as I said before. But you can force a horse to the river. You can force it to drink water. We have stubborn leaders in Africa.
Of course.
We have very, very stubborn leaders in Africa. Even within our country here. Can you, from one state to another state, they are having, okay, for instance, in Benue State, they used to have this Fulani TV, or Fulani, and which tribe is that? Agatu in Benue State.
Right.
Can any other state stand up and pick a call to the state governor and say, please stop that war, and it will work? That is within here. So we have stubborn leaders in Africa. What we can do is what they are actually doing now. Negotiating the two warring factions. You understand? And they are actually negotiating and trying to make sure peace come to stay. But I want to remind you another thing. Sudan is in Africa, but Sudan is more in the Gulf. The Gulf region, the countries around the Arabian Peninsula, they are more interested. We are interested, and they are equally interested. Remember, even during colonial days, French was to colonize Sudan. But because of the Nile water, the Nile River,
yes,
British had to stop French from colonizing. That is interest. So this interest is still at play. You can try, we can try as Nigerians. We can try as Africans. Egypt is there, remember, very close to Sudan. Saudi Arabia, about how many minutes to Saudi Arabia? So there's limit of what we can do.
Okay, how about the African Union? I know that some time ago, the African Union Peace and Security Council suspended the participation of the Republic of Sudan in all AU activities until the effective establishment of a civilian-led transitional authority, which is somewhat part of what the action has taken. Yes. However, with this suspension, do you think African Union still can exert some sort of influence in ensuring peace reigns?
Of course, when the country is already in a situation like this, whatever sanction you have against the country,
it does not usually hold water.
It doesn't stand anymore. How to save lives, property, save the country is what will happen. So every person will forget about what was on ground before. All countries will forget about the differences, all the issues they have, the sanctions against the country will be kept aside first. They may come back to it later, but at the period of war, how to save lives, save the country from tearing themselves apart will be the role everyone, all countries will play.
Okay, so for
that does not put in abeyance some interest
that would always interest will always come to fore. That's the human. That's something about humans.
Yeah.
Interest would always come to fore. Before we let the Sudan crisis conversation go, what would be your advice for African leaders watching this unfold in Sudan?
My advice, sincere advice to our leaders, is to stop being selfish. That's number one. Because everything happening has to do with self. This war, these people put us together to remove al-Bashir for their reasons, interests. But
Exactly.
and
But see how it has boomeranged.
the same interest caused what is going on within them too. So it has boomeranged now, and they are not able to sort it out themselves. They need help from others right now, as it were. And the ego they have, those two, they are ready to fight until the other person is defeated. What is that going to look like? It's to destroy the country entirely. So that is why my sincere advice to our people is to forget about being self-centered, take care of the citizen, ensure that the dividend of whatever they have, is it democracy or militaryocracy or whatever they have as their own system of government, let the dividend get to the people. Do you know that they can make war or struggle less attractive if you have everything that you need in your country? If you are going to wake up and say, why am I not giving this, and you have it, we want to go and think of the next one, you have it. So are you going? You're going to surrender, because everything would have been provided by the government for you, and you begin to ask yourself, why am I even going for this? So let our leaders learn to take care of their nationals, protect their interests, give maximum attention to their education, their well-being, welfare, as it were, generally, so everybody will be happy having you governing them. But the moment their rights are infringed, they are not having access to their entitlements, they will want to come out and struggle. It may kill them. Others will continue.
Exactly. I must thank you for giving us that insight into how governments across Africa can strengthen their ties. We're going for a short break right now. We still have Rakiya Ahmedu. She has so much to discuss with us. Inauguration is just by the corner. After this break, we'll get into that. Stay with us. This is still Joy Asonye Live. Welcome back from that break. We had been discussing Sudan and the federal government's evacuation of all the Nigerians in that war-torn zone. We're moving the conversation now to talk about inauguration. That is just by the corner. It's exciting for some. There are some who still have divergent views about that. And we'll be discussing with Rakiya Ahmedu, who has been my guest from the beginning of the show. Thank you so much for being part of this show.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's start with those with that are not just so excited about the inaugurations coming on, because according to them, their political candidate did not win the elections. Let's start there. What would you like to say to those people who are still holding on to the hope that the Supreme Court would give them victory?
Well, all I can say to these people is to join us, the moving train. We are making positive history as Nigerians. We are forgetting about party right now, because we have 2 weeks to
inauguration. Yes.
So when is the Supreme Court going to upturn the election? So what we have right now on hand is inauguration.
It's inauguration.
And they just have to join the train
Exactly. Now, when you talk about joining the train, there are several agendas, and sometimes it can feel like it should be overwhelming for the president-elect, especially. We have women asking for positions. We have people living with disability asking for positions. Young people are saying, flood your cabinet with us. We have from all corners, agendas are pouring in. What would you like to say? Do you think everybody would be happy? Would there be a scenario where the president-elect would indeed caption the, like we said earlier, interest of all these groups? Because it's like we are positioning him to already fail with all the demands we are hearing.
Well, thank God the president-elect we have is Bola Ahmedu.
I would like to know why we are thanking God for that, but go ahead.
A think tank. The man himself, he governed Lagos, remember. Is there any state in Nigeria that is as complex as Lagos State?
No, none really.
But he was able to curb all the excesses of everybody in the place, and they succumb to follow the rules and regulations of the state as he spelled out through his agencies and all of them. Why I say thank God is that agitations are not natural, they are normal, they can. Even me, I want to be part.
Part of, I know that.
I want to be part so I can send my request. But he has made this point very clear. That's why I say thank God is Ashiwaju, is Jagaban of the universe we are dealing with. He has made a very valid point. And people suppose while you are making your agitation, you have to walk around that statement. He said he is going to constitute government of national competence.
Yes.
So it's not going to be business as usual.
As usual, where we would consider everything.
If you are a woman and you want to go there, you just have to get the quality he's looking for.
Right.
If you belong to the demographic of the youth, you just have to have the competencies he's looking for.
Exactly.
So if you also belong to which other category you mentioned, just
people with disability,
and you have the competence.
We have the media, we have farmers, we have
wherever
traders,
you belong, just have what Tinubu is looking for,
which is competent.
That's all. Because you want to fix the country. So if you want to be part of nation building, just like I'm ready to go to NOA.
Yes, like we have hammered on this show.
As someone else is telling me that I should look elsewhere to go and promote the image of Nigeria abroad, not just local. I can do that too, you know.
I know. Actually, you know, whenever I see you, it's such a joy to have you, because you say it as you feel. You know where your competencies are. Yeah. And that begs the question as to, I mean, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu is one human being.
Yeah.
While he might be Jagaban, like you call him, he's very grounded, like you say, he would still need help. He would still need help. Yeah, exactly, to identify this competence. And if he does need help, this is no longer Lagos. This is Nigeria, where the competence national front, and so the competences would be seeking it from all parts of the country. The people around him who would help with this.
Let me help you.
This charge would they not be compromised?
This man has worked for this position for 30 years. Remember, I always remind you, and that is why Jagaban has worked to be president of Nigeria for 3 decades. He has worked. I think he may know your state better than you.
Wow.
Yeah. This is the person I'm talking about. The president-elect that is going to be our president in 2 weeks. He has walked all nook and crannies of this country. He knows almost every person. If you are telling me now that he's going to wait or lean on aids alone to suggest talent for him, you may be making a mistake. He may hand his list to them to scrutinize.
Right, and not the other way around.
Not at all.
Okay, you have just said that he may have to hand his
list. So let them have their own
input into this.
Because he has been dealing, most of the aids we are talking about, this man has worked with the country, north, south, east, west, for more than 30 years before he became president.
Exactly.
So this other ones, some of them are 30 years, some are 40. So they are just young persons coming up. So they may not know too much. They may have the quality, the wherewithal to do their job, but they can't know. I just don't want to say or preempt something. Let me leave that place.
Well, there are some people who weren't very vocal during the elections. Like we had already established, Jagaban is one person who several stones were thrown at during the campaigns and elections, and he still emerged president-elect. There were several, even among the political party, the APC, that were not necessarily very vocal, and now they are trumping up or hammering support for the president-elect. Do you think what I'm thinking when you often hear such people speak at the moment? Is this please see me, I can be competent in your government kind of speech, like Nigerians are watching and saying?
They are free to say what they want to say and project themselves. Everybody is free to promote himself. I can promote myself and project myself.
I know you don't stay back. You don't.
So they are free to project themselves for whatever position they are agitating for. But the onus is on who?
The president-elect himself. But would it cause a sort of rift if all this
rifts are natural, they are normal. Even in your family, you decide to go and build a beautiful house for your mom, now your dad will say something.
Yes, exactly.
So it's natural. That is not a big deal.
So for those who think this might affect the APC because there are too many demands for the president-elect at the moment.
He has the right to make his choice. He has the right who he wants to be in his government. So if you like, you can present whatever you want to present to him. His choice is the president-elect.
Okay, so what would you say about when the president, Muhammadu Buhari, emerged president? I remember if the APC members had any criticism for their own, it was that several appointments did not get to those who worked hard for it. Do you think with the president-elect now also saying that I am looking towards competent, he would not set aside several people who worked for him? Because if you're indeed looking towards competence, it wouldn't necessarily be those who were hammering support for him. Or would there be an office of Friends of the President?
I love that one. You see, the natural thing is, it's not everybody that supports somebody that will be in the government. That means how many millions vote?
About more than 8 million voted.
So the villa will contain 8 million people.
There were some who were more active than the others. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than the others.
So it's natural that some people will not be captured for one reason or another. They will not be. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. But the thing is, you want to build, you participated in, you supported the process.
Exactly.
As your own contribution to nation building.
Oh, really? Is that what it is?
That is natural. It's natural when you support somebody who has the quality to move your country forward. You are building that nation.
Ajia, is that what your party members of the APC also believe? Okay, I'm saying that. Is that what party members, pardon me for that slip, is that what Nigerian party members believe? Because I saw some people who donated houses as campaign officers. I saw some people who did so much in the name of support group. They were championing events and championing campaigns. Is it for nation building?
Yes.
It's all for nation building. It's not an investment.
It may not be all for, it may not be, but it's their own contribution to nation building. You may be rewarded for doing so. You may be lucky to get rewarded for participating in that process.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes you may not directly be picked. You hear a situation where somebody nominates another person to be picked as DG, as minister, as that. Maybe okay, I have a sister in this process who is not lettered. So how she has done so well, I can attest to that, what she did.
Right.
But she's not competent to be in any office. So how are you rewarding such?
Not competent.
No, yeah.
To be in any office.
No.
Not even domestic.
So she is going to, if she's opportune, maybe bring someone to be part of the train.
Right. Ajad, it's just about 2 weeks to inauguration, and is it normal that we are not seeing a list, and we are seeing several lists come and go? The party will say, oh no, we do not believe in this list, it didn't come from the president-elect. Nobody has put it to their weight behind those lists.
The former president, did you see list before inauguration?
I honestly cannot remember.
Can you remember Jonathan's list, Buhari's list before inauguration?
However, we are seeing lists now.
So people's imagination. This Nigeria, anything is possible. This is Nigeria now. You can dream.
But is this a case of there is a fire that didn't start with a smoke? Because when we look at the list, in fact, it was so bad that year that front page newspapers carried the list with faces of potential people who would man certain positions in government.
Graphs.
All of them. But are you privy to the real list? Because I know that the president-elect has said he will hit the ground running. So I expect, of course, he has a list. He will not wait 6 months to form a cabinet.
But you give it to these people to publish?
I'm saying that. Are you privy to the
he
real
is
list?
To unveil his list himself.
But are you privy to
I'm not. I cannot be.
Why not?
I am interested in my country moving forward.
Right.
And I have the pilot in place already. And this pilot is working. And
he's just waiting for time for takeoff.
Just to take off. And he will take us to safe destination. So I'm happy he is going to unveil his list by himself, not through proxy.
Right. And
so whatever you see, imagination of Nigerians, that you know.
Ajia, I must say that I'm suspecting you. I'm suspecting that this list that a lot of us have not seen, you have seen the very real list. But let's talk about the fact. Let's talk about the fact that.
I'm not seen any list.
Let's talk about the fact that
now talking about. You see, sometimes the real people that work are not the people making noise, you know.
I know. I said it earlier, but I was being careful.
You are hearing the real people that work are not talking. Have you heard about Dr. Ramatu Tijani Aliyu, the Honorable Minister
of course, I have heard about her.
If you talk about investment in politics, in this whole process, I can attest to what that woman, apart from resource, physical strength, her energy, her time, her wisdom. She, do you remember the song, this mandate, a Tinubu mandate song?
I cannot remember.
On your mandate we shall stand. On your mandate we shall stand.
Right.
On your mandate, Bola. On your mandate.
Okay,
Bola,
that's the response that often comes with it.
That music was from this woman.
Oh, she started it.
She started it.
She's when nobody believed. She's very talented.
Even when nobody believed in Tinubu, Jagaban of Africa, she was the first to believe that this woman is going to win.
And here we're not hearing her as loud as...
she's not making noise.
Right.
Just as she's
because
working
she
in
is privy to this.
You see the way she's working in FCT? This woman has projected FCT. Okay, before now, how long have you spent in Abuja? I'm 30 years old in Abuja.
Wow, I've not stayed that long, but it's been more than...
you have to hire your security by yourself to be able to sleep. Now you can close your eyes and sleep without security. This woman is on top. Health is on top. Welfare. dividend of democracy, palliatives, going to nooks. When you hear these other people agitating, what is the disabled agitating?
Yeah, people with disability.
With disability. Who brought them out? This woman. It trained some of them to be agencies, detailed agencies.
We reported that she gave them skills, and she's done a very fantastic job. She's making women proud.
You see, tourism, Abuja has the potential, but all the successive ministers that handle here as number one, they didn't realize it. This woman took this issue up to Canada. Right now, we have investment coming from Canada in tourism up to US. So the people that are actually working for Nigeria are not noisy, they are not noise makers.
Right.
So this woman, if there's anybody that's supposed to say something, give me something, I believe she's not going to say.
But she did it for the good of the country.
The country is interested, in fact, neck deep into developing the nation.
Right.
How to build the country has been the concern of Dr. Ramotu Tijani. Do you know that I'm in love with whatever you hear me say about politics? Not because I'm a politician, because I love what she do as a person. So I got connected with this whole process, on listening to them and hearing them, getting close to know what they do, because of Dr. Ramotu Tijani. That woman is, if there's a person, if you want to measure love for the country among women,
she's one of them.
One. Then followed by others. That is what I can say.
Okay. So with a woman like
that, she's still not making noise. Do you see her on social media or wherever making, oh man, maybe people around her are trying to be the one to let people know. If not, she does and keep quiet, a silent walker. Just like her Baba Buhari.
Okay.
You see all the infrastructure development under this government, but do you hear Baba saying anything?
And it affected a lot of opinions of people, because it was only when he came out.
Who cares? Does he care about the opinion? He's doing his best and contributing his best to his nation, and he's happy doing that. And that's simple. I think I'll do the same thing when they give me
the NOA. When we give you the NOA,
I will do my work and keep quiet.
Yes. No, but it should.
My mentor.
Right.
I want to learn everything.
But just like her, trees don't make noise when they grow. It is when they fall that they make noise.
That's it.
Yes. So I expect that we would see the tree indeed growing without necessarily.
I don't want the tree to fall.
No, it won't fall. With you, I'm sure it won't fall. Okay. Yeah. Before I let you go, just give us some sort of make us optimistic about Asiwaju's inauguration and indeed the cabinet, especially for women. I must say that with the sparse number of women in the legislative, do you think the president-elect is noticing and would complement it with his cabinet and the appointment?
President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a very versatile person. He's interested in making sure, apart from 35% affirmative, I think he will go beyond that. Okay. I have seen signs that he will love to have women, because there are a lot that are qualified, technocrats.
Ajia, you know, when you say things like I have seen signs, I want to ask again, this list.
Don't ask me about list, oh, please. I have no access to list. I'm not privy to anything. But I told you the other day, you forgot, that I have a very high instinct. It tells me, I feel how things are going to, and they work that way. That's what I'm working with. And
it's not list, it's just your intuition.
It's natural, yes.
It's natural intuition. Ajia Rakiya Ahmedu and her intuition. Thank you so much for being part of the program. So we have been having a wonderful time discussing with Rakiya Ahmedu. She's a foreign affairs analyst. We discussed earlier about the Sudan crisis and how the federal government of Nigeria has evacuated Nigerians who were trapped in the war-torn zone. We moved that conversation to the inauguration, and unfortunately we have run out of time and we have to say goodbye to Rakiya right now and close the curtain. So again, I must thank you for being part of the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's always a joy.
Yeah.
It's always so wonderful to have you here and discussing Nigeria and the way forward. We would bring Rakiya sometime again to discuss some.
I always want to be part of nation building.
Exactly.
So anytime you need me, just don't hesitate to look for me.
It gives me joy to know that. Thank you so much. But this is where we would draw the curtains on Joy Asonye Live. We'll be back tomorrow with so much more. Do have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.